is just fantastic. Captain's Log, Subdates 220404.6. I've acquired the Eye of Agamotto. It's a load of shite, quite frankly, and ended up being ground down and used as a mild saltish topping on my pizza. I wanted sushi, and got some below par timey-wimey pizza. How embarrassing. Since the Oscars, there's been much discussion concerning what Will Smith did, whether or not it was justifiable, and it has taken a week for people to finally start saying what they should have been saying a week ago, and I don't mean us the creators, or you the audience. I'm referring to the, elite, let's go with that, who needed a week to make sure that the optics of them calling Will Smith out would look good, even if his slap was quite weak. Violence is never the answer. I touched on this in the exhibition of stupid people last week, and I also touched on this in last week's This Week at Twitter, or twat. Interestingly, I tried to remember if I'd ever done a video talking about whether violence is justifiable. Turns out, January 30th, 2017, I made a video, Is Violence the Answer? ... It is 2 minutes and 45 seconds long, and the context for it was the punching of Richard Spencer, which others back then, bedroom feminist types, justified by saying, it's okay to punch a Nazi. Hell, I'd show it on my own channel, which is something one of the potatoes back then said. Again, I will restate, the answer is always no. I know, defending wife, even though you found the joke funny. The wife herself rolled her eyes, I'm sure her boyfriend did too, and only started laughing post the slap because of Chris's reaction to it. Alright. I know this, by the way, has been done to death, but it's a dry news week and we're starting off slow, right? And I couldn't for the life of me be bothered to go to TikTok and find a Karen, alleged. So what has happened since the slap that I may not have mentioned during EOSP and This Week at Twitter? Well, it was alleged that Will Smith had been asked to leave the Academy Awards just after he had initiated that slapulation. There are some sources that say that he did not get asked to leave, some saying he just said no. I don't really care too much. The only thing I saw was Denzel talking to him, and the look of surprise on many, many people's faces. Whoopi Goldberg is the current serving governor for the Academy's Actors Branch, and she, on Monday, insisted that they are not going to take the Oscar away from him. That was not long after Will Smith had apologized over Instagram. Whether you care for an Instagram apology or not, don't care. But he had done a apology, right? It was around this time the Academy had initiated a formal review of the incident, no doubt because of the uproar all over social media, and people say they don't get anything done. While on The View, Whoopi Goldberg went on to defend Will's actions, reasoning, sometimes you behave badly, continuing by saying, I think it was a lot of stuff, probably built up. I think he overreacted. I think he had one of those moments where it was like, God damn it, just stop. I get it, not everybody acts the way we would like them to act under pressure, and he snapped. Sometimes you get to a point when you behave badly. I myself have behaved badly on occasion. He was laughing at the joke, and it was only when his wife looked at him unimpressed after having rolled her eyes did he bother to get up. One of my favourite responses was one of the earliest responses to it, and it came from Ricky Gervais, who has defended, rightly so, Chris Rock over the reaction to a rather tame joke. During a Q&A video on Twitter, Ricky Gervais said, someone said it was a joke about her disability. This is because he noticed a comment, and that's what it was about. Pointing out, well, I'm going a bit thin, so I'm disabled? That means I can park close right up to Tesco's now. Someone else commented, do you think comedians should stop hosting the Oscars? And in another comment from Ricky, he had said he wouldn't have bothered making an alopecia joke, he would have just made fun of Jada's boyfriend. I had seen people on Twitter and in comments to streams of mine saying that they would have loved to have seen Will's reaction if Ricky was hosting the Oscars. One certainly does have to wonder how the response would have gone down. Now if we skip ahead, we get to the Grammys that were last night. And finally people decided, oh, it's okay now. It's acceptable to mock him. We can do it here. He won't get us. We'll start with Trevor Noah, saying it's going to be such a beautiful evening. Don't even think of it as an award show. This is a concert where we're giving out awards. We're going to be listening to some music, we're going to be dancing, we're going to be singing, we're going to be keeping people's names out of our mouths. I will happily concede Trevor Noah is not the funniest person on the planet. I don't even consider him a comedian, because I don't think he's made me laugh very much. What you heard earlier was the nearest you get to a mild-ish giggle. You know, you feel me. Then you get to LeVar Burton, Lieutenant Commander Geordie LaForge, who on stage said, "I want to warn you that our next presenter is a comedian, if you know what I mean. So I need to caution everybody, remain in your seats and keep your hands to yourself." Isn't it adorable when they try to be funny with a teleprompter? When the comedian came out on stage, he was well protected, with a ginormous helmet. Credit where it's due, at least, I guess. I can see the funny side. It's amusing, right? Yeah, alright. Now, if we move away from the Grammys, let's talk about the not remotely controversial actor ever even slightly, Mel Gibson, who, during an interview where he was meant to be talking about his film Father Stew, the conversation was steered away to talk about Slapulation 2.0, with the Fox News anchor saying, "You understand it probably better than a lot of people with your career. I was wondering if, you had been the one that jumped out of his seat and slapped Chris Rock, if you would have been treated the same way." Mel Gibson responded by laughing. His publicist, though, decided to end the interview by simply saying, "Hello, Jesse, thank you, that's our time." That was it. I love it. Mel Gibson clearly did not want to be involved in the conversation, so he just straight up had his publicist end the interview before it went any further. It's okay, Mel. You can say it now if you want. I don't think anyone's going to call you racist again. Based on the rules of the Academy, when it comes to an investigation, yes, we're moving to something else, I'm going to explain briefly what happens next. You do not lose your Academy Award after winning it. There has only been one in the past where it has been taken off someone, and that was a technicality for a 1969 documentary that had been previewed in 1967, which was too early for the 1968 awards. It is traditional for the winner of the Best Actor Award to present the next Oscar's Best Actress Award. Well, that's not happening. He will more than likely not be invented for two reasons. Typically, you no longer get access to screeners for films in consideration for awards. You can't vote for them. I also want to add that just because of what happened next, which I'll get to in a moment, he can still win Oscars in the future, although I would say Whoopi might want to not do that. Just not. There's a can of worms there. For once, actually understand optics. It's not complicated. So after the apology, what did Will Smith do? Will Smith resigned from the Academy saying that he had betrayed its trust, where in a statement he said, "I betrayed the trust of the Academy. I deprived other nominees and winners of their opportunity to celebrate and be celebrated for their extraordinary work. So I'm resigning from membership in the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences and will accept any further consequences the board deems appropriate." I guess that preempts the disciplinary action from the Academy. Other consequences seem to come from streaming platforms and movies that we thought were going to happen that might not now happen. Things on hold or shelved, because normally when you win an Oscar, your career goes up. You get more money, you get better roles. You essentially get given the platform and the lifetime opportunity to truly show how good you are. Well, that might need a little more time to heal. I guess you get a holiday out of this, right, Will? You can take your pretentious children and your wife and her boyfriend out on holiday. Congratulations. Is violence the answer? In short, no. But I feel it's right to give this a little more context, depth, substance before ending this. So in a recent stream, King of the Potatoes Kevin Logan declared that he has no issue with people punching a neo-Nazi in the face. He even went so far as to declare he'd be okay putting it up on his channel. Now this was met with a fair amount of praise from his panelists. It also received criticism from the anti-potato crowd, myself included. The reason was that not only was he condoning violence, which reaffirms the belief that feminists can't do things with any level of civility and instead force beliefs onto others with either bullying or violent tactics, but also because he confirms the belief of many of the anti-potato crowd that internet feminists are desperate to label at all costs and ignore all of what that person says if it contradicts the assumption made by the internet feminist. Kevin is a pro at this after all, as he regularly labels and spews abuse at anyone he disagrees with, but I'm digressing. In the past, we've conquered lands and forced our ideals onto others, but as the world becomes more and more developed, we start to rely on violence less to ensure that the people of other countries are looked after with any level of decency. That's not to say it is a total success, but it is democratic and we continue to push for this peacefully. There is also a lot of work to do in a boatload of nations, but should we force our beliefs onto them to make sure they treat everyone equally? Or should we try civil discourse to promote equality and fairness? Maybe influence another culture by showing them the benefits of our way without resorting to harm. Are you also tired of hearing regressive ideas that you'd be okay with using destructive actions to get your point across? Now, the point I'm trying to make is that there is never a good enough reason to resort to violence when both parties do not use violence to convey their argument. If one side starts getting violent, does this not risk the other side doing it too? We have seen the more peaceful in recent weeks being the right and not the left. This has made the left look like it is the one full of thugs and not the right, as we are continually told by the left. If the idea of democracy and civil discourse is so trivial to you that you need to be violent or condone violence upon another, surely this shows that your own arguments are too weak to begin with. Promoting violence shows that you have no leg to stand on and you are only interested in being a bully.